Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then welcome. My name is Priya, aka Beauty in the Books, and we do all things beauty and book based here. And today we have a book review for you, and we are reviewing The Ivory Key by Akshaya Raman, I think. I don't know. Sorry if I butchered the name. But yes, The Ivory Key. This has been on my TBR for so long. I think finally bought it when I was at Yelk, and I'm so glad I did, and I'm so glad I read it now, because this is the South Asian representation that we need in our lives. And that is the end of the review, so you can continue on with your day. But no, anyway, yeah, we will be reviewing this. So if you want to know my thoughts, feelings, and an overall view on this, then just keep on watching. Before we start, can we just appreciate the cover art? Like, look at this, look at this, look. I have a makeup look in mind that I want to do with that as my inspiration. So before we get into the review, here is the time to pause and read what the plot, the synopsis is all about. So just give it a pause. Okay, sweet. Now let's get into it. So we'll start off with the writing because it's like the easiest thing. The writing was super easy to follow, super easy to read, and just overall pleasant. Nothing wrong with it. I didn't hate it, and it didn't hurt my reading experience. So key thing to note is it is written in the third person, but the point of view changes. So each chapter will outline who this point of view is from and whose story is being told out of the four siblings. So that's that's it really. But I love an interchanging point of view because it just gives you so much more depth to the story, and you just see it from so many angles. Obviously a singular point of view has its own reasons and merits and place in the world, but I love an interchanging one so much. You just get so much more detail. So yeah, writing absolutely fine, no issues, no qualms with it. It was great. And going into that, I love the descriptions, the inclusion of South Asian words that were not explained but just italicized, so the reader, if they want to understand more depth of the story, have to then go and do their own research about it, which I love it so much. Oh my god, and I forgot, this isn't anything to do with the writing. There's a map. How stunning. Honestly, I love it. I love a good map. And as they were noting key places in the book, I was like then going flicking forward back to the map to find out where they were on the map. So yeah, the descriptions and the scene setting and the overall world building was so rich and so, I thought, well thought out, and so reflective of the area in which it was set. Like, you can kind of, you feel the essence of where it is meant to be, and I just love that so much. And I do have to say the writing and we'll move on to plot, okay, we'll move on to plot now. So I do have to say that the plot at the beginning was a lot slower than the plot at the end. And I don't know if that's just due to the story, or does my hair look okay? I don't know. Move my hair. I might just put it in a bun. So I don't know if that's just, I don't know, like the way the story is going, or because the end is a little bit more action packed, or what. But to me, I kind of, as soon as it started, I was a bit like, oh, where is this going? And I was a bit concerned that I picked the wrong book. But then I think as it got probably about a quarter of the way through, it soon started to pick up, and I started to enjoy it a lot more. So if you're having those issues as well, then I felt that too, but it was definitely worth it in the end. And the way that the ending was left, oh, I just can't. The plot twists in this were brilliantly placed. Some of them I was anticipating just because they were very obvious and very kind of, they just weren't subtle. So there's an element with a box, and the box disappears, but it's very obvious as what is left behind after the box has disappeared, and straight away I knew exactly what that was. I knew what was left behind, I knew its significance straight away, so there was no plot twist there for me because I just knew. And I'm not normally one that anticipates these things, I just read passively, so it was very obvious if I picked it up. But to be fair, it didn't really hinder my reading experience when it came to the plot, but yeah, some bits weren't as well thought out. But overall, there were so many different ways that the plot could have gone, and I didn't actually anticipate the way that it did go, which was so cool, because, you know, the whole way the story's taking you one way, and then oops, no, you just take a sharp turn to the left and you're on this whole new road. And now I'm so excited for book 2. One thing I also really enjoyed was that the whole story is pretty much quest driven. They have a quest they need to do to finish it and save the city effectively, but what I did appreciate was that the quest was probably 50%, maybe 60% of the novel, and it wasn't just the quest was at the end and then you're left in like a cliffhanger and you don't know what's going on. So I really liked that, and it was well thought out. There was drama, it was a bit thrilling, didn't know which way it was going to go, so I really enjoyed the quest. And if we move on to the characters, there's 4 siblings and it centres around these 4 siblings. There are some kind of minor characters that come in that these siblings are friends with or have relationships with, but it's ultimately about these 4 royal siblings and how their relationship has become just so, I don't know, it's just become nothing really. So they were really close as kids and they kind of grew up with a loving family dynamic until all the parents passed away, and now you're just like, how did it happen? How are they all so estranged from each other? So that overall sibling dynamic is really cool. But what makes it cooler is they've all grown up in exactly the same way, in exactly the same household, but they're all so different. So you've got the 2 girls and the 2 boys. I won't spoil as to where and who they are and what they're doing, but they ultimately end up coming back together to do this quest. And it's very interesting to see how they develop from the beginning of the novel all the way to the end, how their relationships have built, how they have not built, and see how they interact with each other. And I think all the characters are great individuals in their own right. They each have their own trauma, their own backstory, their own values, their own motives for participating in this quest, and I think that enriches it that little bit more because they're not all doing it for the same thing. So you're just thinking, well, who's going to win? Once they reach the goal of the quest, who's going to come out with the prize and who's going to screw everybody over? And will they screw everybody over? You just don't know. Or will they learn to love each other at the end? So I really love how they developed and how they interacted with each other. Okay, so overall, writing, amazing, really easy to follow, great descriptions, great use of point of views, and great inclusion of South Asian culture. Great. Obviously not all South Asian culture because I don't know everybody's, but I associated really well, so I think maybe it's weighed on the Indian side, I don't know, but I loved it and it was a representation that we needed. Can't speak for everyone, but I needed it. Plot, quest driven, definitely, maybe a little bit character, but there's definitely a plot and a quest that they need to go on, and that is ultimately the driving force of this story. I do think the characters could have been developed that little bit more, but that's just me being picky. So I would say like the plot and the writing, really good, strong narrative and route to follow, and it definitely tees in very nicely for book 2. I love the complexity of the plot and how you don't actually know which way it could go. There's always so many paths and stuff it could have gone, and it chooses to go a different way that you don't anticipate. So yeah, that is my review. I'm trying to make them a little bit more succinct now so they're not like 20 minutes long and I've got to cut down the footage. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you've read it, let me know. But otherwise, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all of the good stuff down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Oh yeah, okay. It is Interchange, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, Ivory Key. This is really nice. And I have just realised that I didn't let you know what the plot was.